Good morning. Hayom Yom, Tes Zayin, Menachem Av. So when the Baal Shem Tov revealed himself and became Rebbe, so in the early years, he was not stationary. He didn't stay in one place and establish a base. Instead, he traveled all over the place. He went to different towns and different cities, and he met with different Jews and different Jewish communities, and he was traveling all over. And the Rebbe says that the reason why he did this, the reason why he traveled all over the place instead of just establishing himself in one place, was for three primary reasons. There's three main reasons why he did this. Reason number one was to do the mitzvah of Pidyon Shvuyim, which literally means to redeem captives, but essentially it means to bail Jews out of jail, because the Jews of Eastern Europe were extremely poor, and therefore a lot of them were running failing businesses, and a lot of them didn't have a lot of money, and they couldn't pay the rent very often. And therefore all the time Jews were getting thrown into prison for a raise in rent, and the prison conditions were horrific and terrible, and Jews were beaten and abused, and many Jews would die very, very soon or starve to death. And therefore it was a big mitzvah to raise money, to raise tzedakah, and to find these Jews and help these Jews and bail them out of prison. That is reason number one. Reason number two why the Baal Shem Tov traveled around, what he was trying to do, what he was trying to accomplish, was to strengthen basic Yiddishkeit, strengthen basic Judaism, to encourage Jews and inspire Jews and help Jews to grow in their basic observance of Torah mitzvahs and to grow in their basic levels of Yiras Shamayim. And the third thing the Baal Shem Tov was hoping to accomplish and what he was doing, and this third thing is actually unique to the Baal Shem Tov, because the first two things any Jew could do, and it's just really a basic halachic obligation for all Jews to do. But the third unique thing that the Baal Shem Tov did was he was trying to spread and to sell and to teach Pnimius HaTorah, to teach and spread Chassidus. And he traveled to towns and to cities and to big yeshivas, and he met with big Jewish scholars, and he was trying to convince everyone of and teach to everyone and show everyone the beautiful gift of Chassidus and introduce Chassidus to everyone and to all these Jews. And the Baal Shem Tov students once asked him, they said, why is it that you schlep around like a schlepper and teach Chassidus? Why don't you establish a base and let whoever wants to learn Chassidus, whoever wants to learn Kabbalah, let them come to you? That would be a lot more respectable, a lot more dignified, and a lot easier on your part. Why do you have to schlep around and chase people to learn Chassidus? And the Baal Shem Tov didn't give them an answer. Then years later, the students of the Maggid of Mezrich asked him the same question. They asked, why in the early years did the Baal Shem Tov travel around to teach Chassidus and to spread Chassidus? Why didn't he stay in one place, in one location, and let people come to him? And again, the Maggid of Mezrich did not give them an answer. Then years later, the Alter Rebbe gave a short explanation why the Baal Shem Tov traveled around instead of waiting for people to come to him. And it's a little bit cryptic, but he said, Galya nimshechas legalya, while Pnimius, to give Pnimius, you need people to get in touch with their own depth. And what that means is that surface level things are drawn to and instinctively attracted to other surface level things, while anything of deeper value, anything which doesn't have obvious value, in order to want it or to desire it, you need to be in touch with your own depth. And just to explain, just take yourself for example. The more in touch you are, and the more you're living with your body and with the physical and with the sensual, the more you're going to be attracted to, and you're going to see the physical around you, and that's what you're going to be attracted to, that's what you're going to be drawn to. As opposed to the more you get in touch with your own depth, the more you get in touch with your own soul, the more you're going to see beyond the surface level of everything, the more you're going to start seeing the soul within everything. If you are in touch with your own soul, you'll be able to connect deeply with other people and see beyond the surface level, see beyond their body, and connect with them very deeply. As opposed to the more grub you are and the more you're in touch with your own body and the physical, the more you're just going to see the physical within everything. And therefore, basically, naturally, we are very surface level. Naturally, we're very in tune with and in touch with our surface level. And therefore, we see the value in, and we're attracted to, and we're drawn to things, other surface level things that have surface level value and worth. As opposed to anything of deeper value, anything of which is often more powerful forms of value and more intense forms of value, but it's deeper value and not such obvious value, not such surface level value, that we're not instinctively and naturally drawn to. In order to become attracted to that and drawn to that, we need to get in touch with our own souls and our own depth. And yeah, just another introduction. It basically explains in Chassidus that anytime there's a mashpia mikabel dynamic, anytime one person is giving and conveying and transmitting, and another person is playing the makabel, they're taking and receiving, and they're opening themselves up to receive. So it says the makabel, the receiver, the taker, is always going to be receptive and eager to take to a certain degree. They're going to be happy to and eager to, and they're going to want and desire certain things, and they're going to want to take certain things. But they're only going to be open to, and they're only going to desire, and they're only going to want naturally a certain level and a certain degree and certain kinds of hashpah. Whatever they already feel comfortable with, and whatever they see the value in, that's what they're going to want, and that's what they're going to desire, and that's what they're going to be receptive to receiving and getting. But the giver's role, and what the giver wants, and what the mashpia wants, and what the mashpia is meant to do, is they want to give the most intense, the most powerful things they could possibly give. They want to give the maximum they're able to give. And to do that, so their duty first and foremost is to expand the makabel's horizons, is to expand the receiver's horizons, is to get the receiver in touch with their own depth, and to awaken within them basically their deepest wants and desires, and to make them realize that they really want more and desire more than they initially realized or were consciously in tune with. And when they get the makabel in touch with their own depth, and they make them realize what they really want and what to their benefit to receive more and to be open to more and to desire more, then when they open up the makabel in that way, then they can give the makabel everything and give the makabel more and expand their horizons more than they initially anticipated or initially desired or wanted. And yeah, so just bringing that full circle. So in our case, the mashpia makabel dynamic here is between the teacher and the student. The teacher being the Baal Shem Tov and the student being the worldwide Jewry. And Jews worldwide and Jews in Eastern Europe, so they were naturally attracted to and naturally drawn to and naturally valued Nigla. They wanted Nigla, they wanted to learn from Nigla, they wanted Nigla to be taught to them, and they were open to and receptive to Nigla. As opposed to the deeper and more intense forms of Torah, the Pnimis Torah, the deeper value of Torah, so that the Jews didn't even naturally realize or want, or the Jews didn't realize and weren't conscious of the fact that they actually wanted that or needed that in their life. And what Baal Shem Tov was playing the role as mashpia here, the role of a real teacher, was he needed to expand the horizons of the Jewish people. He needed to expand the horizons of his students and the Kabbalim, and make them even realize that they need and are lacking Chassidus, and awaken within them a desire for Chassidus. But to do that, you can't wait around and wait for them to come to you, because they're only going to come to you for things they already want and already value and already see the value in. As opposed to deeper things you want to convey and deeper things you want to give, you have to be initiating, you have to be awakening the desire within the makabel. And that's what the Baal Shem Tov was doing. He was going and seeking them and seeking these Jews and seeking Eastern European Jewry, and awakening within them the desire for Pnimis, the desire for Chassidus. Then years and years later came along the Mitiler Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe's son, and the Mitiler Rebbe explained as well why the Baal Shem Tov traveled around as opposed to waiting for people to come to him, and he said it in very interesting words. The Mitiler Rebbe said that there are two dimensions within Torah. There's the Nigla of Torah and the Pnimis of Torah. There's the surface, base, core level of Torah, the basic level, the surface level, known as Nigla, the exoteric part of Torah. And then though there is the deeper dimension of Torah, the Pnimis of Torah, which reveals the true meaning and true depth in all of Torah and in every line of Nigla. Now he said the whole Torah as a whole is sometimes referred to as fire and sometimes referred to as water. But more specifically, Nigla of Torah, the surface level of Torah, is referred to as water, while Chassidus, the Pnimis of Torah, the inner dimension of Torah, that is referred to as fire. And he explained that water, so everyone is attracted to water, everyone's drawn to water, everyone sees the value in water, everyone knows that they need water constantly. Water is the basic staple of life, you need it to survive, and therefore everyone constantly wants water and is drawn to water. And water is nice, and water feels good, and water is safe. And just very physically and very basically, in the olden days, any town or any city or any human settlement needed to be built on a source of water to survive. And therefore humans literally, wherever they were always seeking out and always drawn to sources of water, and that's where they were drawn to and that's where they lived. So people are drawn to naturally to water. He said, as opposed to fire, while fire could be an incredible force and could be a very constructive force and could be a very helpful force, it could also be very destructive. It could be misused. It could be very scary. And therefore, when people are around fire, they get a little bit more cautious. They're a little more on guard. They're a little scared, so to speak. He said, in the same way, Nigla of Torah, so everyone again is open to it and receptive to it, and all Jews are not on guard around it. He said, as opposed to Kabbalah and Chassidus, so while it could be extremely powerful, these things, and while it could really drive Judaism and bring a new life and energy to the Jewish experience, these things could be dangerous and could be misused and abused. And they've, throughout Jewish history, they have been in the wrong hands. They've been misused and abused, and they misled people, and they've undermined authentic Judaism. Until today, many people use Kabbalah and Chassidus, specifically Kabbalah, to undermine. They use Pnimis Torah to undermine authentic Judaism and to cause a fire to burn down Judaism and to destroy Judaism. And therefore, the Jews who had never been introduced to Chassidus before, they were very cautious and very weary of this Pnimis Torah which the Baal Shem Tov was spreading. And they were afraid of it, so to speak. And the Baal Shem Tov had to show them and had to demonstrate to them and had to walk them through it and show them that the version of Pnimis Torah he was teaching, Chassidus, is being used in the intended way, is a good way. It's being used in a constructive way, in a way that can drive the whole Judaism, that can bring passion to and new life, and not only will it not undermine Judaism, will actually save Judaism and prop up Judaism and bring a whole new life and really be a driving force to do Judaism properly and be a driving force for Nigla. But he had to basically convince the Jews and show them that this is not a bad fire, this is a good fire, this is a constructive fire, this is a godly fire. And that's why he had to chase them and go after them to show them this is not bad, this is not dangerous, this is actually good and constructive, to get them on board, to get them feeling comfortable with it. And just to, and it says that the kind of fire which Chassidus is, the good fire, the godly fire, so it's in the spirit of the pasuk which says, Habaya lekecha eish eichlehu. God is an all-consuming fire. Which means Chassidus basically is the Torah connects with Hashem, and Chassidus is the part of Torah which allows you to connect with the more intense, more powerful form of Hashem, the fiery and passionate part of Hashem, and allows you to live with that and channel that energy in your soul, and to really channel the soul's passion for God, and let the godly fire burn within you. That's what Chassidus allows you to do. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.